skillful action or the karma. Therefore, the outer, if you have pure mind, the outer is pure. So therefore, the exploitative consumption, if ever, or ecological extraction is never have before if we have a pure mind. So tanha, upata, or tanha and lova and greed is dominant us to do that. And after that, this is a cycle. The environment, if we overconsumption, the ecological extraction, that is the external feedback. Is the environmental is collapse, and when environmental collapse, we suffering for that. Human beings say, I'm happy today, I don't care tomorrow. Are you sure? And even today in watching the news, floods, we have a typhoon that attack from the nation. Have one academic says, whatever we have done with the nation, whatever we have done with our Mother Earth, that thing 100% reward for us. And now the scientist says, this is the reward from the nation. We destroy a lot of the country to build a city. We burn the fuel to run the factory, to run the car, to transport. And now it's our turn, to that reward. The world is hotter and hotter every year, okay? And the disaster of the nature is the typhoon, the tornado, the earthquake is higher and frequently higher and higher number of it happening. If you say, my country is safe, yes, you're lucky. But other country, now if you're watching the TV and about the news, Japanese, Europe, they have a problem. They have the heat problem. And now we talk about El Nino and La Nina also. We talk about the temperatures of the oceans and the world and the air. Its effects to make the nature, climate, the climate nature is look like some place never rained before in the deserts. It's flood because that rains. Some place never have snow before and it's snow drop. Some place have a symbol, it's not much flooding of the water because that the rain. Now we have one word, the new word is rain bomb. That means just one place. You need to go to anywhere. It's raining non-stop, raining and flooding just within one day and destroy everything. And we have another word, new learning about the dome, the heat dome. And people died in Europe maybe last week, if you watch it. Because of the nature is changed. Okay. Maybe 5,000. Almost of the people who die because of the heat. The heat dome, that means the temperature is cycle. That dome is covered just that place. Maybe just Europe. And people die, I heard 5,000 or 6,000. Most of them is the elder. Okay, now it's inner spirit translate environment presence. Okay, this is the modern Pacific time. Okay, that we still focus in Roma and dosa moha, this kilesa, motivate people. And this is Thai forest month. They're talking about we have limited, we have small children. We stay with the forest, and we save the forest. We grow the new tree. It's not cut. Okay. Sometimes the clothes also we use nature clothes, using nature law. Medicine also use the herb. This is the tradition, okay? That is why Buddhist, we have some traditions to be like to compare with the outside, like outer, the modern, because they talk about the driving with the economic, with the benefits, and the consumption a lot of nature. Then how to, equilibrium is very, economic equilibrium, that is, sometimes it just is really, it's not happening. It's because if people cannot control, you see, the sense of interaction, that means karma sukha, like what we need, what we like, we try to consume that, non-stop. Impossible to be, if you in the other side you can control yourself, or you do you harmful yourself. You see, this is from if you remember, this is the Dhamma-inspired Sutta. It's the first preaching of the Buddha to Pancavakkhiya, the five Dhammakhiya. Because the five Pancavakkhiya, they left the Buddha because the Buddha, after he suffering himself to training to get enlightened, but after that he said, oh, this is not the way, and he turned himself to eating. Because of turning point, Pancavakkhiya left go to another forest, but the Buddha, he practiced, without any help from Pancavakkhiya, and he get enlightened. And then the first one he go to, and the first preaching after he get enlightened is Majjhima Patipatthana. He talking about when he was princess, the sense of integration, the karma sukha vika yoga. That means he follow the good thing, the present thing. This is the extreme one. Another extreme is because he's suffering himself when he practiced trying to get enlightened, and got help, got served by the Pancavakkhiya. But after he turned himself to be the middle way, okay, this Majjhima Patipatthana is like he eating just enough for maintain, to have a power to practice, and then he get enlightened. And what he proved, this teaching to the five, Pancavakkhiya, and then have one of them, Gondanya, is get enlightened. Just only this preaching, okay? Just only because of the Majjhima Patipatthana, the middle way. So if we talk about the economic equilibrium, if you hyper-consumption, extreme economic growth without environmental limit, this is the extreme growth. And the last one is, just zero growth, extreme eco, it's like a living as a poor, don't need to use anything more. Just, it's too much extreme, two sides. And then we come to Majjhima awareness. This covered by the Buddha as optimal condition to human flourishing, rejecting both fashions, indulgence, and extreme ecologies, these privations, align perfectly with the idea of Cape Vagos, the donuts economic, and in 1987's Berkman Commission. That means, if you can control, not too much consumption, or you just too low of consumption, just to be middle. And we have a two economic theory to support our middle way of the Buddha teaching. Okay. So the three palace, the three extremes, remember the Buddha. And after that, the second one is when he turned himself from suffering, he go to the forest to find out a way to get enlightened. But after that, he turned The turning point is Majjhima Buddhista is he eating. After he eating, he get enlightened because he have enough power and to think, to realize the Dhamma, to the deep Dhamma. So case study of about ecological middle class in the Costa Rica. This is the outside first, and later we will talk about in Thailand or in Southeast Asia about the middle way, ecological middle way. The Costa Rica, zero also is too low, but extreme also they reject. How they do? You see, the ecological selling respect, rivers, deforestation, achieve 99 renewable electricity. That means instead they cut the tree to build the electric plant, but they use renewables like a wind turbine, like a solar cell or something. And the social foundation maintain the high human development HDMA in the boost economic variable. That means the human being in the center is not the economic or the practice center. What they have some regulations according to the Costa Rica. That thing about the human being, the civilians first. Okay, the policy is like a PSA, Pakistan Service of Investment, paying farmer to protect forest. Okay. If you protect the forest of growing the new one, you got money. They have planning for that. And rather than demand to stop farming, okay, that means they not support, they cut the tree and sell that wood to the wood factory. Instead, if you growing or protect, you get that money. Now we talk about Mattajita. Metta Yuta is a measure. In other words, it's like a theory of the mindful consumptions. Okay, this is look like the food you eat. The reflex why he eat food, not food for fun. You see, this is a concentrate. We have before we eating, according to the Theravada tradition, we need to concentrate. And this is all in Lottapamana Sutta. Not for visual, not for fun. What we eating. Okay, it's not for adornment, not for beautifications, but only for endurance and continuance of the body. And so in the symbol, this is for the enough nutrition and power to maintain this body for work, for doing Dhamma, for practicing Dhamma, just read that in simple words. And this theory is fit with Schumacher. If you have studied economic or politics before this, he is communist. He Buddhist economics, the trace resources set. Okay, economic trace resources seconds. Overconsumption by climate change is Yuta. Because he's talking about, it's like the economic trace in the second is like you need to pay respect to the thing the resources. Think about you're going to use that resources, you paying that is you give the first one to you that is the second. Knowing measure. This is also, the fit with this. This is the idea. And the point number one, we're talking about the instrumental use, the ointment metaphor, the result, like food or putting more in the so the use superior carry load, not status or endless pressure. Okay, never fulfill our need, I told you. If you cannot control yourself, if in the mind, not mindful concentration, in the endless pressure, I need more. Even I have the past year new iPhone, and if the beginner of this year have the new iPhone, some of them, okay, I will sell the old one and buy the new one. It's something like this. Inner expression. The point number 2 is inner ecology is guarding the center again, advertising and service cooperation. We protect mental, biosis, stimulate. The outer, view. If we talk about it, we have one point is instrument, it's your mind, and this is also the ecology inner. If we guarding to send the door, we stop ourselves. It's like I talking about. I want to need the second hand. I have had to help my work, but I have something to stop that. Just delay first, and after that I have a lot of meaning come, and I stopped to buy from last night. The single water well. Okay, this is the one sutta, the ancients how economic perfectly, how to divide your wealth or your budget. First for your house, second for emergency sometimes, and third for charities or social foods or for dana. This is for investment or in business. This is Mattanyutta according to that sutta. You need to divide 4. You budget you have and 4 save for this. For house, for emergency is possible to you got sick or something, you can pay for that, you save for that. This is for business to sustain a little, and this is for dana. Sometimes you need to do dana, but according to the modern also we're talking about sometimes we need to have donate for the social, for the corporation social responsibility something. Okay. So in 1979, this is the crisis of economy in Thailand. We lost our a lot of money. We call money powers according to the crisis of economy. At that time, if other country compare with the same, it's like Mexico got destroyed because we have the king and he created this. We call the King Lamanai, he used the Mattanyutta, but he changed to another name we call sufficiency economy. That means sufficiency is like a narrow, you can support yourself. Is just a little bit to asking for outside. If you have land, one for life, for food, one 30% for contain the water, and use that water to grow the things, to maintain other tree. 30 and 20 use this, and because of you do like this. The Westerners says, this is the destroy economy. You don't need to pay any single baht outside. You save your money, and economy is not running because the money is not spent to other and spent back to yourself. That is the Western economic thinking. But for the king, he talking about the sufficiency economic. That means you can support yourself as possible. You have food, you have rice to eat, and you have some meal or some because your corporate, okay, your farming is something like that. And according to the history of the economic dropping or crisis, Thailand is the most fast, the most recovery because these ideas. And until now, Thailand also we talking about we maintain and educate others. We expand this knowledge to other places. Now a lot of people, even they have worked before and then they stop their working. This the effect of the number of work in the factory or in the industry, in the office, lower and lower because maybe economic crisis, AI come to instead the people to work, and people come out, go back their country, their land and their trees like this, to support themselves. One day, maybe 100 they can sell the thing inside, but with under 100 they buy the thing they don't have. It's like exchange, it's like exchange. Therefore, they can be the well-being or sustainable life. The same work, we talk about if Buddha, the Buddhist, we talk about the dukkha, it's come from the Greek delusions, and how to diminish, how to make that by non-attachment, not clinging at non-attachment. Therefore, and think about everything is coexist. It's not only us. Everything have the cause and effect. Therefore, when we use the nature's resources, you need to think twice about that. And after that, without harming the nature is not harming you back. Karuna and ahimsa. If we're talking about the Buddha teaching, now we're talking about the mechanism of the sin. This is the inner. If the outer, we talk about the long term, economics long term, that means it's just only today or next year or next 10 years. It's maybe a decade. Ecology system also, we can save the resource, what we use, we try to regrow, reproduct that thing, Especially now we have renewable energies, for the solar cell, wind turbine and other. For what? To save, we use the fuel cell. And according to the global meeting, they talk about how they need to stop. Do you think is it possible that they're going to stop to use the fuel cell? It's hard, For beginning, everything is excited. But later on, maybe next 5 years after, some of them quit out from the committee. Some the nations, some countries they clear out. And some of them just writing the plan, very beautiful, but do nothing. Is 80% is possible to fail the last report of GE, the United Nations. 80% because some of them just a dream, some of them just make a fake report, some of them neglect to do anything, some of them quit from the committee. I don't care. It's just care my country, my country first. Okay? This is amateurs within planet. This how the outer the system like thinking about feedback, equal the life responsibility, the future generation. Yes, we need to think about that. But in the middle one, this is the synthesis by inner and outer. The healthy system requires healthy acting. Whatever you do is the healthy, not only you, ecosystem also. Contribute actualism, low impact contribution. Yeah, try to lower your greed. Okay, lower your greed, and then it's lower your consumption. The harming environment is decrease because you lower your consumption, and the inner visual translate to outer justice. Yes, without inner, without mindful, just yesterday. This is my exactly I have done, and it's reflected. I don't think is my decision is the good example, but it happened with me is the real. You think about what you're going to do. Even you have some questions, some need, but finally, if you pause with the mindful, with the inner worship, you have something to think towards, and the answer or the reactions will different from normal. Okay, remember we talk about SDG, and in your report, I try to ask you to know about that, and you can apply, you can explain about what is SDG and fit with your report or the reason to support your point. Okay, the first pillar this is the synthesis, the ethic content practice we call Bhavana Sila. Okay, this is inner is my training. And after that, to the middle one, inner self express itself out the social borderless rejection, extreme the poverty and harm confrontation this. That is the same, that it's like a conclusion we have talked about. Okay, yes. So this also we talking the human mind, okay, whatever we use the architect of the human mind, or we talk about to use the resources, you see, we use the Majjhima Patipatthana, okay, to be the blueprint to collect the survival. Okay, for preview, this is last week, and today is the time is 9:57. Okay.